Welcome everyone to my channel. This has been like my 6th or 7th YouTube. I swear to God, I cannot for the life of me figure out how to delete any of my YouTubes. So if you look up my full name, I literally have like 6 or 7 YouTubes. And I'm sorry, I wasn't sure what my niche was. My niche? Anyways, I thought I would start off my first video by talking about my fitness journey. So my fitness journey started back in 2014, kind of towards the end of it. I was a freshman in college and I was going through it. I had been overweight my entire life, right? So I guess my fitness journey kind of goes further back, but it wasn't until I started losing weight successfully in 2014. Growing up, I had been overweight, I had been depressed because I was overweight, and I felt like trapped. And I didn't understand why I was overweight because I was involved in every sport, like everything. Like I was so involved in everything. I was so busy all the time, but I was a binge eater. Like I'm talking Pop-Tarts galore. I would eat the whole box, not just a packet, the whole box. I already knew I was kind of overweight, so I would feel guilty if I ate any of those things in front of other people, so I became a closet binge eater to where I would eat just all the time. All the snacks were at my disposal. That's kind of where like most of my weight started really picking up. I had hit my highest weights. I had kind of started losing a little bit, not much, but a little bit towards my junior and senior year. But my sophomore year, I hit a high of 220 pounds. I'll never forget stepping on the scale the one morning and seeing that it hit 200, and I was guilty and down on myself. It like destroyed me, yet had a more negative effect because then I went into even eating more. Food was like my comfort. That kind of started, I think it was around my junior year. My mom started taking me to a nutritionist because I also battled anxiety and depression for most of my life, and so that honestly, like I would go through spurts of eating so much or not eating enough throughout the day to where I ate more later. So I went to a nutritionist. They gave me this diet pill. It was like an appetite suppressant, really. And then they gave me like a list of foods to follow and stuff like that. And it was successful for a time. I had lost 30 pounds, but it did not last because while I was taking these pills, one in the morning and one in the evening, I started realizing that they didn't actually work and it was all a mental game. I started eating again and gained the weight back. I went off to college. I got stuck with 2 skinny, super pretty girls who were flat out mean. They were awful. I got really into my shell because I just didn't want to be outside of my room. I stayed in my room. I locked myself in there all the time. I would have to call a family member every single day to talk to them because I was so anxious to go home. I was anxious to cook. I was anxious to do anything. I went home for Christmas break. And Christmas break, I got blessed, okay? Blessed with 6 weeks off. Completely off. I went back. I was having like panic attacks. It was not good. I went into such a homesickness, depression, anxiety that it had the opposite effect on me. I stopped eating. Also bad. Don't do it. I struggled to have any sort of appetite for about 3 weeks. 3 weeks I ate nothing but those little Welch's fruit snacks that are like 80 calories a pack. I literally have maybe 2 or 3 of those a day. I didn't really notice the effects until one of my dance classes. I was sitting there stretching and the bags under my eyes and how sunken in my face was and how just like malnourished my body looked. And then, by the grace of God, my roommates had an issue with each other. So the one girl moved out and then the other girl just randomly started commuting. But all of her stuff was still there, so I had an apartment to myself. I started eating healthier and working out again, and that's when I dropped a massive amount of weight. Now, this first time I dropped all that weight, I do not recommend it. I still had a very unhealthy relationship with food. I was very restrictive on myself. I didn't allow myself the luxury of having snacks and experiencing life. Like, I still had this restrictive, very unhealthy relationship with food. While it was very opposite to my last relationship with food, it was still very toxic. I was the most confident I had been my entire life. I was the happiest. My anxiety started to go away. And then I moved to Orlando because I'm originally from Pittsburgh, for those that don't know. Then I moved to Orlando on a Disney internship. I chose to extend my program, to which none of my friends decided to extend because they couldn't. And I just knew Florida was somewhere I belonged and somewhere I wanted to stay forever. And here I am 5 years later. I started suffering from a separation anxiety and went back into a depression state where it had the opposite effect again. And so I started turning to food again for comfort because I went so long without all those yummy, delicious foods. I thought that made me feel better all the time. I started eating them again all the time. Then I had gained all 90 pounds back on top of, I think, another 20 or 30. I recently looked back at some footage and videos I have. I'll try and include them so you can kind of see, but I did not even know I got that heavy again. It's nice to finally be proud of yourself for something like that. Then after I kind of put on all my weight again, it was a struggle, like a really, really big struggle to even try to lose weight again. I've done this before. I got this in the bag. I did not have it in the bag. I got into drinking a lot, and drinking was something I had never been a fan of. I had gone my whole life until 21 not drinking a sip of alcohol, and that turned into a problem. Not to say I went into alcoholism or anything, but I started drinking a lot, and a lot of my money was going to it. And then because all of my money was going to that, I didn't make eating healthy a priority, so I would eat out all the time. I would buy snacks all the time, and I would just munch. You know, when you drink, you munch. It was not healthy, like at all. Thinking back, I'm like, oh, that makes me sick. I finally was like, you know what? No, I need to get back into the gym. I got back into the gym, and then I would overdo it so harshly on myself that I would quit. I would go into spurts of trying to be healthy, and it always turned into the same thing. I gave up. I went to drinking to suppress my anxiety, and then I would snack. I would always just stop out for food all the time. Again, went back to a very unhealthy relationship with food. Didn't get back on my fitness journey seriously until this past March, so 2019. So 2019, when the drinking got really bad and I started affecting my relationship with certain people and someone that's important to me, and after I kind of screwed that up, I was like, nope, nah, we are doing this for real. And that's when I finally started grocery shopping again. Because I would grocery shop, but not really. I wouldn't really buy food. I would always go out and get food. And we're going to start making this a priority again. I started grocery shopping, getting healthy groceries. I was sort of restrictive on myself at the beginning because I wanted to form a healthy habit again, and I wanted to understand what things my body responded well to and what it didn't. That's when I also, started cutting the drinking back. I started cutting it down to just weekends. I started cutting it down to just Friday, and then I would start cutting it down to 1 glass on Friday. Come around November, this November actually, I just cut it out completely, and I'm the best I've ever been. Mentally, physically, my health has improved, my workouts have improved, it's been great. That's also back in March, that's when I started, making healthier choices again. I started meal prepping again, and meal prepping, if you don't do it, you should, because it is a lifesaver. It's just nice to have it all in a little container all ready for you. You just gotta heat it up. I started getting back into the running, and I would run 5 days a week, and then I just decided to lift this time around, because the progress I've seen between lifting this time around and not lifting last time is insane. Like, I just feel so much stronger. I'm leaning out more. I'm toning more muscles. I just feel way more confident now than even just getting like stick skinny, because all I would do is cardio. So I started running a lot more 5 days a week, and I would implement weight training also 4 to 5 days a week, until I became this crazy person that actually runs every day, and I train 5 days a week. I run 7 days a week because Saturday and Sunday are more of just light jogs in the morning. It's a way to stay active but still like resting those muscles that I just trained and lifted with. So that is kind of the story of my fitness journey. It's been definitely a long process. It's been a lot of hard work. It's not necessarily sometimes about motivation as much as it is discipline. Take part in good habits that are good for you and make you feel good and make you feel happier, and that's what I did. By no means am I done on my fitness journey. I still want to grow stronger and be the most fit that I can be. I also became vegan to help with that. I became vegan in November, and not saying any of these choices that I made you have to make as well. Some people definitely can have a few glasses of wine on their weekend and not have their whole fitness journey be thrown off track. But for me personally, that's just not realistic for me. I hope that kind of gives you guys a little more insight about my journey so I can share more info and content with you. So don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can see more content, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.